Hi guys and welcome back. I'm Thomas. Thank you all so much for being here. Today we are doing a machine review, specifically the Cheyenne Sol Nova Unlimited. This is the machine that I use every day, so if you see my time lapses, you'll see that I use this machine all the time. It's an incredible machine, really packs a punch and is super versatile. So we're going to unbox and show you exactly what you get inside this lovely little package that you get from Cheyenne. Exactly what they send you, how the machine works, how to prep the machine for tattooing, and then my final thoughts on the machine. So with all that being said, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure to click the subscription button, smash the like button, click the bell, all the usual stuff. Yeah, let's jump into unboxing and reviewing the Cheyenne Sol Nova Unlimited 3.5. First things first, before we get into the technical details, let's just have a look and see what you get. So first of all, you get this lovely travel box. This does keep everything nice and safe. It is basically like a flight case. So if you are traveling around doing guest spots and whatnot, it is going to keep your machine nice and safe. Granted, it is a little bit bulky to pack, but if you've got decent sort of tattooing backpack or photography bag somewhere you've got a lot of spaces, it will keep your machine nice and safe. And let's be honest, we do pay a lot of money for these machines, so you do want to look after them as much as you can. So inside, first things first, we've got this little piece of paper. So on here, this gives you the angles for the voltage, so the frequency of the machine, so how fast it hits. So this is basically the equivalent of voltage if you've got a power supply. We'll go into that in a little bit more detail shortly. So inside this lovely foam packed travel case, the first thing we're going to look at is the battery charger. So this holds two batteries. This plugs in with this USB cable. In this little case here, we open this, we've got two rechargeable batteries. So these batteries are supposed to last about 7 hours each. Obviously, depending on the voltage that you run your machine at, they are going to deplete faster or slower if you have a slightly lower voltage. But the idea behind this and what Cheyenne say is that they last up to a minimum of 5 hours and they're going to take 3 hours to charge. So between the two, they should never run out of charge throughout the day of tattooing, hence the name Unlimited. For me, I have these on charge every single day. I have these sat on my side. You may have seen them in backs of shots. So they stay charged all the time. I'll be using one, and if that ever runs out, which I'll be honest with you, on any day session that I've had so far tattooing with this machine, it's never run out of charge. But if it did, if I forget to charge them, if I don't take the battery out of the machine, you've got the spare. These are standard rechargeable AA batteries, so you can get these from anywhere. And from what I gather, they're reasonably cheap as well to replace. Then moving on to the main part, the machine. So this is the Cheyenne Sol Nova Ultimate pen machine. The first thing we notice is it doesn't have a cable. As we've just talked about the batteries go into the back of the machine. They go into this slot here. This allows you to quickly and easily replace the batteries if you need to throughout the day. Like I say, you shouldn't technically run out of charge throughout the day, but if you do, it's really simple to switch the batteries out. The main body of the machine is really nice and slick, really easy to keep clean. As we all know, through tattooing, you've got to stay nice and hygienic and clean. So yeah, without having any frills on the body, it makes it really easy to keep clean, sterilize, and make sure you're not doing any sort of cross-contamination. On the machine itself, you have one single button. This controls everything on the machine. So this turns your machine on, this turns the machine off, this changes the two modes that the machine can run on. So it has steady mode and responsive mode, and then also it allows you to change the voltage. It's a little bit sort of fiddly and weird to get used to, but it does make sense. It is quite intuitive, and yeah, just the one simple button use really makes the machine nice and easy to use. Moving down the machine, we've got the grip section. You can get disposable grips from Cheyenne. These replace the stainless steel grip that's on here. The way this works, this grip just unscrews off. This has two O-rings on here, that creates the tension in there, and this also allows you to change the needle depth. And also when you bag the machine, which I'll show you how I get the machine ready to tattoo. So that's the basics of the machine. Now I'm going to show you exactly how I set this machine up. First things first, I'm going to bang on some gloves. If you don't use uni gloves, make sure to go and check them out. So the first thing that I do with the machine is I'll take off this cap at the top. This allows me to get batteries inside the machine. One AA battery goes in, fully charged and ready to go, and make sure that's nice and secure in there. The O-ring is going to stop anything getting in and out. It's also going to create a bit of tension, stop that from coming off during the process. I'm going to take off the grip from the front. Then we're going to grab some pen machine bags. These are from Jet Black Supply. I'll drop links in the description. So we're going to take the machine with the grip off, and we're just going to slide that over just until it goes in there. Now with the opening, what I tend to do is just pinch that up so it's well over the top of the O-rings, so that once you put the grip over the top and tighten that down, it's going to make a nice secure fit with the machine bag, and that way it's going to stop anything from getting into the machine, keep everything nice and clean and neat and tidy. Just to secure this, I'm going to take some tape. This is standard micro pour tape. This is purely just for my personal preference. I like to just put 2 wraps of tape, one at the bottom and one at the top. It is a little bit overkill, but for me, I tend to find that this helps to stop the machine cover from rotating and spinning. Obviously with this, because you're needing to spin the grip to change your needle depth, it just makes your life that little bit easier. So the top section, we just rip that bit off, grab another tiny little bit of tape, and just like you would wrap up a present, we just wrap up the top just to give us that perfect seal. So at this point, I'm going to wrap the grip up. What I'm going to use for this is just standard cohesive grip tape. Again, any good tattoo suppliers will stock this. So what I like to try and do is get this grip tape to be as close to the opening for the cartridge as possible. And once I've got that, I can then wrap it around just a couple of times. I don't want to bulk up the grip too much. I just want enough that my hands are going to stay nice and gripped onto the machine. So that is how I set up my machine. The way the cartridge system works is the standard cartridges you can get from any manufacturer. These are the Cheyenne capillary cartridges. If you never use these are really incredible cartridges. The way they work is really intuitive, really different, but it definitely helps with color packing and just generally the flow of your ink. And like all machines, this slots in, turns, and then locks into place. Turn the machine on, press and hold the single button, that's going to turn on these 2 LEDs. So with the 2 LEDs on, that indicates that the power's on and the battery's fully charged. As the machine gets used throughout the day, the battery will change colour. So it will go from white to yellow to red. Yellow indicates that it's dropped just below 50%, and red means it's dropped just below 25%. I'm yet to see this get all the way down to red. But if it does run out of power, you've got the second one, switch out the battery and you're straight back into work. So the top light represents the steady mode and responsive mode. You can change this by pressing and holding the button. And now you can see that it's blinking, which means it's in responsive mode. When it's in steady mode, it means it's basically a direct drive machine. That means it's going to be putting all the power through 100% of the time. You personally are going to have to control hitting softer areas of the skin and personally responding with your hand and your technique with how the skin's reacting. In responsive mode, it's going to be a little bit more forgiving. It's going to give you that little bit of give. So as you're tattooing and you're going over like harder and softer areas of skin, the machine will adjust the power accordingly. It is very slight, but it will help reduce a bit of redness and irritation and potentially give you a better tattoo. To turn the machine on, it's a single press of the button and you can hear the machine's running. It's a very quiet machine, doesn't vibrate that much. Obviously there's going to be some vibration just down to the nature of the machine, but it's very, very slight. It is a very, very quiet machine. Holding the machine, the weight is really nice. It's not particularly heavy, but it's got enough weight in there just to reduce those little bits of vibration. So when you're doing nice sort of steady line work, it's not going to be sort of wobbling your hand around too much. To change the power of the machine, this is where I refer to this fancy little chart. So the way this works is you hold the machine in the same angle as what is shown on the chart. That's it, technically going to give you 8.8 volts. So by pressing and holding on the button, and you can hear how the machine changes tone. This is you changing the voltage of the machine. So by aiming down here, that's going to get us down to about 7 volts, and by aiming up here, we get up to 10 volts. bit of a strange system when you first start using the machine. It's hard to really get your head around how that sort of really works and the accuracy of what voltage you're choosing. And if you're a stickler for having 10.2 volts running through a machine and very specifically dialed in, it might be a bit hard to sort of get used to. I honestly found it a little bit tricky to start with. I'm one for being on 9.5 volts as a go-to, and then I adjust it very, very slightly from there. So for this, yeah, it was a little bit tricky to get used to. What I tend to do now is whatever voltage it comes out, so when it goes into standby, it tends to reset, or when you take the batteries out, whatever the machine turns on, that's what I use it at. I don't bother changing the speed or anything like that. It goes back to the days of using coils where you have to adjust your hand speed to the speed of the machine. Again, it takes a little bit to get used to, but once you do get used to that, the mag marks are heavily reduced. It's a really nice machine. It packs a punch, but it is also really soft. The Cheyenne actually do 4 versions of this machine now. It goes as low as a 2.5 stroke all the way up to a 5 stroke. This is the 3.5 mil stroke. For me doing black and grey shading, this works really well for me. It's nice and soft, nice and even shading throughout the tattoo. And like I say, if you've seen any of the time lapses on the channel, you'll see the results that I get with this machine. I do, however, really want to try one of the 5 mil strokes to see what the actual main differences are from a tattooing point of view. Technically, it's supposed to be a lot more hard hitting, a lot more punchy, so it should do color packing really well, line work really well, but it'll be interesting to see what that's like for black and grey. I've got a couple of friends that have got them, so I might try and get my hands on one just to give it a comparison review. But like I say, this is a 3.5. I've been using it for since it came out, the machine, and yeah, it's my go-to everyday machine. So there you go, guys, that was my review and unboxing of the Cheyenne Sol Nova Unlimited 3.5. If you want to know anything else about the machine, like I said, I use this every day, so I do have a very good working knowledge of the machine. Drop it below in the comments and I'll try my best to answer any questions you guys might have about the machine. Overall, it is a great machine. The price is a little bit pricey, but most tattoo machines are going that way now. So much for watching. If you enjoy this content, enjoy my reviews, make sure to check out these videos here. They're all my reviews on the channel, so you can head over there and you get more content along these lines. And if you enjoy all my content, this video here, this is what YouTube recommends you to watch. So yeah, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And with all that being said, thank you all so much for watching, guys, and I will see you all on the next video. Peace.